Emotional control is not about suppressing how you feel. It is about understanding your emotions, managing them with wisdom, and choosing your response instead of reacting out of impulse. Inner strength is what allows you to stay steady when things around you are unstable, to remain grounded when life feels overwhelming, and to keep moving forward even when your circumstances are not in your favor. When you master these qualities, you become more focused, more confident, and more at peace because you are no longer easily disturbed by external situations or the opinions of others. You begin to realize that true strength is not shown in loud reactions or emotional outbursts, but in calm responses, disciplined thinking, and the ability to stay composed under pressure. This journey is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming in control, becoming aware, and becoming strong enough to handle whatever life throws your way without losing your balance or your direction. Control your emotions, control your life, and that truth sits at the center of everything you become. Because the moment you lose control of your emotions, you hand over control of your decisions, your actions, your reactions, and ultimately your future. But when you master your emotions, you step into a level of strength that most people never reach. Life is going to test you. That is guaranteed. Situations will come that challenge your patience, your ego, your confidence, and your peace. People will say things that trigger you, your confidence, and your peace. Circumstances will arise that try to throw you off balance. But what defines you is not what happens to you. It is how you respond to it. Emotions are powerful. They can either guide you or control you. And if you are not careful, they will control you without you even realizing it, leading you to react impulsively, to say things you don't mean, to make decisions you later regret, and to create problems that could have been avoided. But when you take control of your emotions, something shifts inside you. You begin to pause before reacting. You begin to think before speaking. You begin to observe before deciding. And in that space, in that moment of awareness, you gain power. Control is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about understanding them, recognizing what you feel, why you feel it, and choosing how you respond instead of being ruled by it. Because feelings are temporary, but your actions create long-term consequences. Think about the times when you allowed your emotions to take over. The arguments that escalated, the decisions made in anger, the words spoken without thinking. Those moments did not serve you. They pulled you away from your goals, your peace, and your progress. Now imagine a different version of yourself, one that remains calm under pressure, one that listens more than they react, one that chooses discipline over impulse. That is a person who is in control. That is a person who is building a life with intention. Control your emotions. Control your life means taking responsibility for how you show up every single day. It means understanding that no one can make you feel anything unless you allow it, that your response is always within your control. No matter the situation, there is strength in restraint. There is power in patience. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, because not every situation deserves your reaction, and not every opinion deserves your attention. When you master emotional control, you become less reactive and more intentional. You begin to protect your energy, your peace, and your focus, and you stop allowing external chaos to dictate your internal state. Life becomes clearer. When your emotions are stable, decisions become easier, relationships improve, and your confidence grows. Because you are no longer being pulled in different directions by every feeling that passes through you. You begin to understand that inner strength is not about being loud or aggressive. It is about being steady, grounded, and composed, even when things are difficult, even when pressure is high, even when you are being tested. Control gives you freedom. Because when you are not controlled by your emotions, you are free to choose your path, free to respond with wisdom, free to think clearly, and free to move forward with purpose. And that kind of control does not come overnight. It is built through discipline, through awareness, through practice, through making the conscious decision, again and again, to respond instead of react. There will be moments when your emotions try to take over. Moments when anger rises, when frustration builds, when disappointment hits. And in those moments, you will have a choice to react out of emotion or to respond with control. And every time you choose control, you grow stronger. Every time you choose patience, you build discipline. Every time you choose awareness, you become more powerful. Control your emotions. You become more powerful. Control your emotions. Control your life is not just a statement, it is a way of living. It is a mindset that separates those who are easily shaken from those who stand firm, those who react from those who respond, those who are controlled by life from those who control how they live. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond, and that response shapes your reality more than anything else. So take control, not of the world around you, but of yourself. Because when you control your emotions, you control your thoughts. When you control your thoughts, you control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control the direction of your life. And that is where real power begins, not in what happens to you, but in how you choose to respond to it. And once you master that, you are no longer just living life. You are leading it with strength, clarity, and purpose. Inner strength is built in silent battles. Inner strength is built in silent battles. In the moments when no one is watching, when no one is clapping for you, when no one even knows what you are going through, and yet you keep going, you keep pushing, you keep showing up, because deep down you know that what you are building inside yourself is more important than anything the world can see. See, real strength is not loud, it does not need attention, it does not need validation, it is built in silence. In the early mornings when you choose discipline over comfort, in the late nights when you refuse to give up even though everything feels heavy, in the quiet decisions you make when no one is around to influence you, these silent battles are where your character is formed, where your mindset is shaped, where your resilience is tested, because when there is no audience, there is no pressure to perform, only the truth of who you are when it matters the most. You go through things that no one else sees, struggles that you don't talk about, doubts that you don't express, fears that you have to face on your own. And in those moments, you have a choice to break or to build, and every time you choose to keep going, every time you choose to rise despite what you are feeling, you are building something powerful within yourself, something that cannot be taken away, something that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Inner strength is not something you were born with, it is something you develop over time, through challenges, through pain, through discipline, through consistency, through the quiet moments when you decide to do what is right, even when it is not easy. Nobody sees the sacrifices you make, the times you stay focused when you could have given up, the times you push through when everything in you wants to stop. But those moments matter because they are shaping the strongest version of you. You learn to rely on yourself, to trust your own decisions, to stand firm in your beliefs, because you understand that the real battle is not out there in the world. It is within yourself, it is in your thoughts, your emotions, your discipline, your mindset. And when you win those internal battles, you become unstoppable externally, because nothing outside of you can shake someone who is solid on the inside. There is power in silence, power in doing the work when no one is watching, power in staying committed to your growth without needing recognition, because that kind of strength is built on something deeper than approval. It is built on purpose. You start to realize that not every struggle needs to be shared. Not every challenge needs to be explained. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is keep moving forward quietly, trusting the process, trusting yourself, trusting that every step you take is making you stronger. And in those silent battles, you develop patience, you develop resilience, you develop a level of discipline that cannot be taught, only experienced, only earned through consistent effort and quiet determination. People may not understand your journey. They may not see the battles you are fighting, but that does not matter, because you are not living your life for their understanding. You are living it for your growth, your purpose. Your future inner strength is built when you are alone with your thoughts and you choose to stay positive. When you are faced with difficulty and you choose to keep going. When you are tested and you choose not to break. That is where true power lies. in your ability to stand strong when no one is there to encourage you, in your ability to keep going when there is no applause, in your ability to rise when everything feels like it is pushing you down. And the more you go through those silent battles, the stronger you become. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You become someone who cannot be easily shaken, someone who understands their worth, someone who is grounded in their purpose. You stop seeking external validation because you have built internal confidence. You stop depending on others to motivate you because you have developed self-discipline. You stop fearing challenges because you have already faced battles that no one else saw and come out stronger. That is the beauty of silent battles. That is the beauty of silent battles. They shape you in ways that no one can see, but everyone will feel, because the strength you build within eventually shows in everything you do, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you make decisions, in the way you handle life. So do not underestimate the quiet moments. Do not overlook the battles you are facing alone, because those are the moments that are building your strength, shaping your character, and preparing you for everything that lies ahead. Inner strength is built in silence. And if you can endure the quiet battles, if you can stay committed when no one is watching, if you can keep going when it is hard, then there is nothing in this world that can stop you from becoming who you are meant to be. Stay calm when everything around you feels chaotic, and understand this is not weakness. This is control. This is power. This is the difference between reacting like everyone else and rising above like someone who understands their strength. Each life is going to throw chaos at you, that is a guarantee. Situations will come that test your patience, your focus, your emotions, moments where everything feels like it is falling apart, where nothing seems to be going your way. And in those moments, your true character is revealed. Because anyone can stay calm when everything is going right. Anyone can feel confident when things are easy. But the real test comes when pressure rises, when stress builds, when confusion surrounds you. And yet you choose to remain steady, to remain focused, to remain in control. Staying calm is not about ignoring the chaos. It is about not letting the chaos control you. It is about understanding that while you cannot always control what is happening around you, you can always control what is happening within you. Your thoughts, your reactions, your mindset, those are your power, and when you learn to master them, you begin to rise above situations that once would have overwhelmed you. Think about it. When you react in panic, when you allow fear to take over, when you let stress dictate your decisions, what happens? Things usually get worse. Problems grow, confusion increases, and your mind becomes clouded. But when you stay calm, when you take a step back, when you breathe and think clearly, you gain perspective, you see solutions, you make better decisions, and you regain control over the situation. Calmness is strength, it is discipline, it is the ability to pause when everything in you wants to react. It is the ability to think when others are losing control. It is the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is trying to shake you. There is power in that stillness, because in that stillness, you are no longer being controlled by external forces. You are operating from a place of clarity, a place of awareness, a place of intentional action. Chaos feeds on reaction, but calmness breaks that cycle. Because when you do not react the way chaos expects you to, you disrupt its power over you. You begin to realize that not every situation deserves your immediate reaction. Not every problem needs an emotional response. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step back, observe, and respond with wisdom instead of emotion. That is where your strength is built. In those moments where you choose discipline over impulse, patience over panic, clarity over confusion, and make no mistake, it is not always easy because chaos can be overwhelming. It can test your limits, it can make you feel like everything is out of control. But that is exactly where your training begins. You train yourself to stay calm by practicing awareness, by slowing down your thoughts, by focusing on your breathing, by reminding yourself that you are in control of your response, no matter what is happening around you. You build this strength over time, through experience, through repetition, through choosing calmness again and again until it becomes a part of who you are. And once you master this, something powerful happens. You become unshakable. Not because life stops being difficult, not because life stops being difficult, but because you have learned how to remain steady in the middle of difficulty. People around you may panic, they may lose focus, they may allow chaos to control them, but you remain grounded, you remain focused, you remain clear. And that is what sets you apart. That is what builds respect. That is what creates leadership. Because people naturally gravitate toward those who remain calm in the face of chaos. You become someone others can rely on, someone who brings stability into unstable situations, someone who does not get easily shaken, someone who knows how to navigate through challenges with confidence and clarity. But more importantly, you protect your own peace. Because when you stay calm, you are not allowing external chaos to enter your mind, to disturb your focus, to control your emotions. You are guarding your inner world, and that is one of the most important battles you will ever fight. So the next time chaos shows up, do not panic. Do not react impulsively. Do not let fear take control. Instead, pause, breathe, and remind yourself that you are stronger than the situation in front of you. Stay calm, stay focused, stay grounded, because your calmness is your strength, your control is your power, and your ability to remain steady in chaos is what will carry you through anything life throws your way. Strength is responding, not reacting, and once you understand that difference, you step into a level of control that changes the way you live your life, because reacting is driven by emotion. It is instant, it is impulsive, it is what happens when you allow a moment to control you, but responding is different. Responding is intentional, it is thoughtful, it is rooted in awareness and discipline. Life will test you. That is a guarantee. People will say things that trigger you. Situations will arise that challenge your patience, your peace, your focus, and in those moments, you will feel the urge to react, to respond immediately, to defend yourself, to prove a point, to release that built-up emotion. But that urge is exactly where your strength is tested. Because reacting gives away your power, it places control in the hands of the situation or the person who triggered you. But responding allows you to take that power back. It allows you to pause, to think, to process, and to choose your response with intention. There is strength in that pause, in that moment between what happens and how you respond, because that moment determines your outcome. That moment determines whether you stay in control or lose control. When you react, you often say things you don't mean, make decisions you later regret, create conflicts that could have been avoided. But when you respond, you give yourself the space to think clearly, to act wisely, to move with purpose instead of emotion. Strength is not about suppressing your emotions. It is about mastering them, understanding them, and not allowing them to dictate your actions. Because emotions are temporary, but your actions can have lasting consequences. Think about the times you reacted in anger, the words spoken without thinking, the decisions made in frustration. Those moments may have felt right in the moment, but later, they often lead to regret, to damage, to unnecessary stress. Now think about a different approach, a moment where instead of reacting, you paused, took a breath, and responded calmly. That response likely led to a better outcome, a clearer conversation, a stronger position, and more control over the situation. That is the difference between reacting and responding. One is driven by impulse. The other is guided by awareness. Strength is found in your ability to control that impulse, to choose your response, to stay calm when everything in you wants to react, because that takes discipline, that takes awareness, that takes inner strength. And make no mistake, this is not easy, because reacting is natural, it is instinctive, it is what most people do, without even thinking. But choosing to respond instead of reacting requires practice, requires patience, requires a level of self-control that not everyone is willing to develop. But if you commit to it, if you train yourself to pause, to think, to breathe before responding, you begin to change your life in powerful ways. You become more intentional in your actions, more thoughtful in your words, more in control of your emotions, and that creates a sense of stability in your life that cannot be shaken easily, Pio. You'll begin to see you differently. They see someone who does not get easily provoked, someone who stays composed under pressure, someone who does not react emotionally to every situation. And that is powerful, because when you are not easily shaken, and that is powerful, because when you are not easily shaken, you are not easily controlled, and when you are not easily controlled, you become someone who operates with true strength. Responding also gives you clarity, because when you take a moment before acting, you allow yourself to see the situation more clearly, to understand what is really happening, to choose the best possible course of action. Reacting clouds your judgment. Responding sharpens it. And in life, clarity is everything. You have to train your mind to operate in this way, to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, to choose your actions with intention instead of emotion. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become, not just in your actions, but in your mindset, your confidence, your ability to handle difficult situations. You begin to trust yourself more, because you know that you are no longer controlled by your emotions. You are in control of them, and that creates a level of confidence that cannot be easily broken. Strength is responding in core days, not reacting, and when you live by that principle, you begin to navigate life with more control, more clarity, and more purpose. You stop being a victim of your emotions and start being the master of your actions. And that is where real power begins. Not in how quickly you react, but in how wisely you respond to everything life throws your way. Your power begins when your emotions don't control you. And that is the moment everything in your life starts to change. Because as long as your emotions are in charge, your decisions are unstable, your focus is inconsistent, and your direction is easily influenced by whatever you feel in the moment. But when you take control of your emotions, you take control of your life. Life will challenge you, that is a given. People will say things that trigger you. Situations will arise that test your patience, your confidence, your peace. And in those moments, you're cray. And in those moments, your emotions will try to take over. They will try to push you into reacting without thinking, speaking without awareness, acting without discipline. But that is where your power is tested. Because your emotions are powerful, they are real. They are part of who you are, but they are not meant to control you. They are meant to inform you, to guide you, to signal what you need to pay attention to, not to dictate your actions. When you allow your emotions to control you, you give away your power. You become reactive, unpredictable, and easily influenced by external circumstances. But when you master your emotions, you become steady, grounded, and intentional in everything you do. There is a difference between feeling and acting. You can feel anger without acting on it. You can feel frustration without letting it control your decisions. You can feel fear without allowing it to stop you. And that ability to separate feeling from action is where true strength lies. Your power begins the moment you create space between what you feel and how you respond. Because in that space, you gain clarity, you gain control. You gain the ability to choose your next move wisely. Most people live their lives reacting to their emotions. They feel something and immediately act on it. But that leads to regret. It leads to unnecessary conflict. It leads to decisions that do not align with their goals. But when you take a different approach, when you pause, when you reflect, when you choose your response instead of reacting, you begin to move differently. You begin to operate from a place of control instead of chaos. This is not about suppressing your emotions. It is about mastering them, understanding them, and using them as tools rather than being controlled by them. Emotional control is a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed with practice, with awareness, with discipline, by consistently choosing to respond instead of react, by learning to stay calm in moments that would normally trigger you. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become, not just emotionally, but mentally, because you begin to trust yourself. You begin to trust your ability to handle difficult situations without losing control. You realize that you are not your emotions. You are the one experiencing them. And that distinction is powerful because it puts you back in control of your life. When your emotions control you, your life becomes unpredictable, your actions become inconsistent, and your progress becomes unstable. But when you control your emotions, your life becomes focused, Your actions become intentional and your progress becomes steady. You start making better decisions because you are not acting out of impulse. You are acting with awareness, with clarity, with purpose. You also begin to protect your energy. With purpose, you also begin to protect your energy because emotional control allows you to choose what deserves your attention and what does not. What does not. You stop getting pulled into unnecessary drama. You stop reacting pulled into unnecessary drama. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop allowing negativity to dictate your state of mind because now you understand your power. And that power is not loud. It is not aggressive. It is calm. It is controlled. It is steady. And it is unshakable. People may try to provoke you, may try to provoke you. Situations may try to test you. Life may try to shake you. But when your emotions are under control, you remain grounded. You remain focused. You remain in command of yourself. That is where true strength lies. Not in reacting quickly, but in responding. We Soleil, not in being controlled by emotions, but in mastering them. Your power begins the moment you take responsibility for how you feel, how you respond, and how you move through life. Because once you do that, nothing outside of you can easily take control of what is within you. And when you reach that level, when you truly master your emotions, you become someone who cannot be easily shaken, someone who moves with intention, someone who lives with purpose, and someone who fully understands that their power begins from within. And when you finally reach that place where your emotions no longer control you, something powerful settles within you. A calm strength that cannot be easily shaken, a quiet confidence that does not seek validation, and a steady mindset that allows you to face life with clarity and purpose. You stop reacting to everything around you and start responding with wisdom. You stop letting temporary feelings dictate your long-term decisions, and you begin to move through life with intention instead of impulse. That is where your real power lives, in your ability to stay grounded when others lose control. When others lose control, to stay focused when others get distracted, to stay calm when others fall into chaos. You realize that you are no longer at the mercy of your emotions. You are in control of them, and that control gives you the freedom to live a life that is aligned, balanced, and strong. Your peace becomes protected, your decisions become clearer, and your confidence grows. Because now you trust yourself completely. And once you understand that your power begins when your emotions don't control you, you never go back to the old way of living because you have seen what it means to truly be in control of your life. And that kind of power changes everything.